Wikipedia defines law as a set of rules that is set up by either a societal or government institution in order to control behavior. However, I don't think that's necessarily correct. You see, what laws actually are is a social contract between everyone involved in the system to agree to a base code of ethics and recourse in order to resolve issues within that group. And while, yes, this is enforceable through either physical means using things like the police or economic means by imposing sanctions, the only thing that makes laws truly enforceable is the idea that we all are in consensus to follow the laws. And once that social contract is broken, for example, by one group being able to be above those laws, the concept of having to follow the rules becomes completely theoretical, because if this guy doesn't have to follow the rules because he's rich, why should I? In the past 3 months, there has been an increasing level of escalation and violence in this country for a multitude of different reasons, but at the heart of it, I believe there's just a malcontent within our society with how unevenly the laws have been enforced. And now that the social contract is broken, what's to stop people from shooting a CEO in Manhattan, blowing up a Cybertruck, running over a bunch of people and shooting at cops? And people have tried to seek legal recourse for the things that have happened, and their cases have been dismissed or thrown out, or they've went through and no real punishment happens to the person who breaks the laws, because it is weighted against us, the people. It is only there to protect the corporate elites that do not give a shit about you. The most massive companies on Earth are currently stealing the wages of their employees. Look at Disneyland, for example. Their workers' union had to strike because they were being underpaid according to local law. Amazon workers on strike are being arrested for no reason. Wage theft is the biggest crime in this country, accounting to $50 billion taken directly from your pockets by your employer. That's why we can't give a shit about shoplifters, why we can't give a shit about people stealing from their bosses or the companies they work at. The reason why the Amazon workers are striking is because Amazon just announced publicly that they made the most money they ever had in any financial quarter, and yet they can't pay their fucking employees. You are being undercut by corporate elites who would rather hire immigrants than hire anyone in this country because they know they can get away with workplace abuse if they make someone contractually obligated to stay with them or have to leave the fucking country. In this video, I hope to talk about why I think we are on the verge of a very catastrophic failure here in the United States. And it's not going to be some political puff piece about liberals being right or conservatives being right or Democrats being wrong or Republicans being wrong or fucking MAGA is the correct thing or fucking MAGA is evil. Because guess what? All of it is the same exact stupid shit. The culture war that the liberals and the conservatives can't seem to shut the fuck up about is just a distraction tactic so that they can control you and me. So with all of that out of the way, my name's Undead, and let's just jump right into the fucking noose.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and a thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Hey now, hey now, hey now.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, 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 and the flames went higher. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, 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 and the flames went higher.
Hot take, but I think manifestos are really fucking stupid. It seems like every time someone does a violent action in this country, suddenly they found their fucking manifesto, and it's always the same self-aggrandizing, intellectual equivalent of masturbating your own personal political philosophy all over the fucking nation like anyone gives a fuck. But I do have to give points to the top two stupidest manifestos that came out. At the number 2 spot, we have to give it to the guy who blew up the Cybertruck in front of the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. He basically blamed all of the country's problems on Democrats despite Republicans holding a majority in the House and having the presidency. He then complained about DEI hires and said that America rejected the DEI president in favor of President Trump, who's gonna fix everything. But the only thing he ever managed to accomplish is injure 6 fucking people he would probably politically agree with, because the only ones staying at Trump Towers right now are Trump supporters. I mean, I'm not expecting every racist veteran to, be a fucking wordsmith or whatever, but he didn't even really accomplish anything. I mean, all he really did is make Elon Musk's feelings get hurt and Tesla stocks to tank. But that doesn't hold a candle to the number 1 spot of the stupidest manifesto, and that goes to the transphobe femcel who shot up the Catholic school, who killed herself and put in the time to write a multi-page Google Doc manifesto and forgot to make it public. Imagine killing yourself, leaving one last message behind, your coup de grace, your final fucking stupid tweet that no one gives a shit about, but you forgot to make it public. You know what? Maybe TERFs are right with their misogynistic take that men have an advantage because the Columbine kids that she was trying to emulate didn't fuck up this bad. And the main reason why I take issue with all of this, other than the abject cynicism, is that by gamifying these spectacles of violence, we are actively contributing to the cultural apathy and numbness we feel whenever there's tragedy in the news. The message should be obvious by your actions. Nobody gives a fuck about whatever piece of paper you wrote or whatever fucking document you forget to fucking publish. I mean, walking around with a notebook page of exactly why you did the crime you're accused of doing in your backpack while you're just stopping at a McDonald's for breakfast, it's obvious you're only doing this for the notoriety and the self-gratification that comes with being the one who did the crime that ended up on the news that week. And yeah, that goes for the people who kill themselves during the crime too. They're just as worse because they're so self-loathing that they want to take themselves out of any of the consequences they'll receive, but they still leave behind a last message so that someone will give a fuck about them. If I'm ever caught causing a mass homicide, God please forbid me from ever having a manifesto in my back pocket. And if I do, let it please just be a double-sided fucking index card saying I hate pigs and I hate rich people. Because in this age where digital communication is freely available, the concept of trying to get your malformed political take out there through violence is just laughable. Amazon recently announced that it has made roughly $160 billion in sales in the third quarter of 2024. This is an 11% increase from the third quarter of 2023, and in 2023, they had an increase of 10% from the previous year. But with all this financial success, it's not magically trickling down to the workers of the companies, as many people are still in the warehouses and in the trucks over 50 hours a week and still can't manage to pay their bills. You may have heard that Amazon workers are currently striking against Amazon. And you may have also heard a spokesperson from Amazon try to say that the people who are striking aren't actually real Amazon workers. And I don't think you have to be a genius to understand how fucking stupid and insane a notion like that actually sounds. Because the people who are striking against the company are either current Amazon employees or ex-employees who got illegally fired for being union supporters. You see, Amazon let off many people who were both organizers and leaders within the worker union inside Amazon. And then they decided to hire as many temp workers as they could for as long as they could. There are some temporary workers in Amazon who have worked over a year and are still classified as temporary workers, which is a blatant and illegal attempt at subverting labor laws. You see, Amazon is federally obligated to meet with the workers' union to negotiate. And all of the people protesting have a First Amendment right to be there to protest. So all of those gutless, corrupt cops who keep arresting people who are striking against Amazon are blatantly breaking the law in order to promote a corrupt system that does not work for you and me, but works for the elites and the ruling class. Which is wildly hypocritical because the police benefit from being in a union, and yet they're trying to strip away those rights from the Amazon workers who are going about it the legal way, the correct way, that we keep being told how we're supposed to resolve these issues by. And Amazon won't even do what they're federally, legally obligated to do, which is to negotiate with their worker union. So what's the point in going about this the legal way, the correct way, as all of the fucking newscasters are trying to brainwash you into thinking is the only avenue of dealing with these wealth hoarding scum? How does it make sense to try to take legal action against the people who have all the power when they're weaponizing the police against us? Amazon, Tesla, Disney, all of these companies that tout themselves to be the pinnacle of success, these Fortune 500 fucks who all get together and have the biggest micro penis competition as they talk about percentile increases of success, can't even explain why they can't pay their workers a decent fucking wage. Should we really count them as successful when they can't even stop their workers from dying in mass numbers? The injury report statistics that Amazon releases to the public every now and then are actually edited down to make it seem like there's less injuries than there already are. And the numbers are high enough. Imagine what they're hiding. But to them, they don't care about the human effort, the lives that go into making their companies successful. They just care about productivity and not the people they are responsible to as employers. And the worst part of it is the people with all the money are always the people who are immune from any fucking consequence. It's already well understood that the law isn't applied equally or evenly throughout the entirety of this nation. That being said, is there anything more truly glaring of political corruption in the government than unconditional, wide-spanning presidential immunity? As of the time of recording this video, Trump's New York felony case has just yesterday concluded with the sentencing being unconditional release. He was found guilty of 34 counts of financial business record fraud and tampering with the election, and yet his punishment is basically nothing at all. And you might be wondering about the other hot topic court cases that he was a part of, that a bunch of liberal media sources here on YouTube were trying to convince you would eventually somehow magically disqualify him from the presidency. Well, allow me to recap. Judge Eileen Cannon showed her fucking bias by basically dismissing the entire case by making up some wild delusional bullshit saying that the special counsel that was legally formed in order to investigate Donald Trump's criminal activity was somehow without any federal authority to be investigating exactly what they were formed to fucking investigate. And then the other case by Jack Smith was dismissed outright because you can't persecute a sitting president. But I think the issue is, why did it take you so fucking long to get this far ahead in the trial in the first place that you couldn't have fucking convicted him? This corruption and inefficiency is exactly what your taxpayer dollars pay for every single fucking month. If anyone else was this fucking incompetent at their job, they'd be fucking fired. But because they're government pensioners, of course they're not gonna get the fucking boot. If anything, they'll probably get a promotion. And if you're a convicted felon, you can still convince enough rural fucking uneducated pricks to vote you into office so you can pork barrel to all your tech bros who are gonna turn around and replace your voters' jobs with AI robots or immigrant workers that they could legally fucking exploit because suddenly you now have a change of heart on immigration now that you realize how profitable it is, you fucking scum. And the most glaring issue of all is we now have a deranged fucking Nepo baby from South Africa thinking he can buy as many political mouthpieces he wants if he throws money at all of these grifters' legal problems as if he's some kind of angel investor in their fucking campaign of misery and destruction. For example, Alex Jones rightfully lost a defamation case because he kept lying about people who had suffered losses in their family to the Sandy Hook fucking school shooting. But guess what? Elon Musk swooped in, used a fucking corrupt judge to stop the sale of InfoWars, allowing for Alex Jones' limp dick right-wing friends to buy him out so that he faces basically no fucking consequences. Alex Jones forced a grieving father to kill himself because of the harassment he faced because of InfoWars' depraved and indefensible fucking lies. And that's why you see so many people violently lashing out, because the supposed legal and correct way of doing things has no fucking results if the person you're going after controls a narrative with their infinite wealth. Wealth that, mind you, they only achieved because they stole it from their workers. They stole it from you. They stole it from the taxpayers. And they did this in front of our face by using their favorite grift, the biggest distraction tactic ever conceived, the bullshit culture war. The culture war and this propaganda mill that has always been running since the dawn of US history has really ramped up as a key player in recent events. And despite social inequity always being a key component to conservatism, the modern culture war, in my opinion, can be directly traced back to 2004's Bill O'Reilly segment, The War on Christmas, and then The War on Christmas every subsequent year after that, because Republicans just can't seem to shut the fuck up about this. With this roots of this political dogma dating back all the way to the 1920s with famous anti-Semite and capitalist pig Henry Ford. That's right, these fat cat corporate fucks have been whining and complaining about how Christmas isn't Christian enough since the 1920s. The idea that heteronormative white Christian conservative culture is under threat is how they pin the working class against itself so that we're all fighting each other and we're too busy to realize that they're passing legislation that makes it so that you nor I will ever be able to fucking own a house. Everyone knew that trickle-down economics was a bullshit fucking lie told by Ronald Reagan, but he tricked you all by appealing to your white superiority complexes and saying, well, this is how we're gonna get all them blacks off of welfare. Not even mentioning the fact that the majority of welfare abuse going on while Reagan was being elected was committed primarily by white Americans. By appealing to people's white superiority complex, the Republicans have been able to grift their way into power, completely ruining our economic system. But do you think any of these Republicans actually give a shit about you if you're a working class nuclear patriarch of a white Christian fucking family? Oh, they'll try to court your vote. They'll try to demonize and weaponize nebulous terms like DEI hire and woke and they'll publicly say that they are against immigration. But when it comes down to their bottom line and their finances, they will 100% stab you in the back and replace you with a cheaper worker that they can import from overseas and that they can abuse under threat of that person getting kicked out of a country if they don't put up with a toxic work environment. Do you actually even give a shit if trans people use the bathroom they feel comfortable with? Or is it just that you're told that you're supposed to give a shit by the people who are controlling every single aspect of your life and robbing you fucking blind? Do you honest to God believe that trans healthcare being covered under health insurance has anything to do with the money you take home every month? Get real, you absolute fucking idiot. You can see blatant pork barreling in the federal government right now, with the Department of Government Efficiency being set up as a literal fucking meme middle finger to the American public. These expensive do-nothing job titles that are being handed out like candy by President Trump are costing you more than a fucking trans person going through hormone replacement therapy. Wake the fuck up and get real. So what, if anything, can we extrapolate from all of this? The rise of politically and socioeconomically motivated violence in this country, along with news cycle burnout, is causing us to become numb to tragedies. The legal system is visibly corrupt and broken, and fighting injustice on a legal front has become nothing more than a theoretical possibility. If you have enough money, or you have friends who have enough money, you will not see consequences within the court system for your actions, no matter how horrendous they truly are. And the rich are trying to pin us against each other through some fucking bullshit culture war that has no actual bearing on your direct life. There is only one way in which all of this can end. We are heading towards catastrophic failure. Because sooner or later, we all realize that liberals and conservatives are two sides of the same coin, keeping us oppressed and keeping the elites and the ruling class away from any fucking real consequence. But with all that out of the way, my name's Undead, and that's all I got.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play.